You are about to get a bird's eye view of the difference between a one-blade shave on your left and a two-bladed Trac II shave on your right. As both razors shave, the first blade lifts the whisker out from the face. But the Trac II razor has a second blade that can shave the whisker again, closer, before it all snaps back. Even with two strokes, no one-blade razor can make that statement. And the Trac II is safer because the blades are recessed. The Gillette Trac II razor, the first razor with two blades.
Welcome to another shave here on the Soap Thing Project. This video is going to be the second in a 6-part series of videos called The Evolution of Gillette Cartridge Razors. In the last video we did the Techmatic. Well, today we're going to do the Trac II. This razor was made from 1971 till 2009, which is quite a production run for a Gillette razor. It's pretty crazy that this razor lasted that long. Now, inevitably, somebody's going to go in the comment section of the video and go, hey, this razor is still being made. No, it's not. The Gillette 7 o'clock razor that you are referring to is not the same razor. It is a spiritual successor at best. There are some distinct differences. I don't have a 7 o'clock razor at the moment, so I can't compare them, but I have had one before. And there's some noticeable differences between the two. In any case, why is it called the Trac II? Well, because it has two blades instead of just one, and the cartridge slides on and off on a track, just like you see right here. And if you look, I'm not sure if the camera will pick this up, it is really small. If I can get it to focus not on me. Not sure if you can see that, but there's some tiny lettering right here on either side. So that is where the date code is. Mine is an F3, so third quarter 1985. You might have noticed this one does not have a lubricating strip. I was lucky enough to score a couple of vintage Gillette Trac II blades without the lubricating strip. Why is this a big deal? Well, because at the time the Trac II was originally released, the lubricating strip on the cartridges was not a thing yet. It had not been developed yet. That's for another razor coming soon. So I figured we would try to use this in the condition that it would have been in when it was initially released, so that we can kind of see this transformation from no lubricating strip to lubricating strip. I thought that would be an interesting shaving experiment. But this is the Trac II for you. This was Gillette's flagship razor from flagship cartridge razor, I guess, from 1971 until 1977 when the Atra came out, which will be the next video. So this is the razor we're going to use today. And the first 3 videos in this series, including this one, we're going to do the Gillette Foamy shaving cream and the Afta aftershave balm, because if you're going to use a cartridge razor, then you may as well use the shaving cream and the aftershave that people would have been using when they shaved with this stuff. So it just makes perfect sense to do that. Okay, let's get started.
Harry, make sure you get a close shave and don't cut yourself. You gotta look good for the wedding pictures.
Don't worry, this is a Trac II. 2 blades, but recessed so they're safe.
Then how are you gonna shave close?
When the first blade shaves a whisker, it lifts it out from the face. And before it all snaps back, the second blade can shave it again, closer. And don't ask if I can shave twice with my one-blade razor.
Couldn't you just shave twice with your one-blade razor?
The whisker snaps back too fast.
Harry, look at your daughter.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
The Trac II razor. Gillette made it one blade better.
right then. Got about 36 hours growth on the face today, about a day and a half. Plenty enough growth to do a shave with the Gillette Trac II. Alright, let's take the Gillette Foamy and put some on. Oh, I made a mistake. I didn't wipe the water off. You're supposed to make sure you don't have like a dripping wet face, otherwise this stuff will tend not only not adhere to your face, it will sometimes dissolve. So, and then you'll find yourself just applying more and more and more of it. That'll be good enough. Okay, Gillette Trac II. So unlike the Techmatic, this razor, by everything that I've read, seems to have been a bit of a sensation when it came out. It was really popular. You'll notice that we don't have a pivoting head. It does not pivot up and down or side to side. It is just a fixed blade. Here we go. Wonderful, smooth. It doesn't feel like that lubricating strip is really necessary. This is actually the second use of this blade. I used this razor in kind of a throwback shave a while ago. In fact, this razor is so good that for people even today who are having issues shaving with the Mach 3, the Fusion, or even the Skin Guard, I tell them to use the Gillette 7 o'clock razor, which takes Trac II blades, and a lot of the skin irritation issues that they're having seem to go away. And I think it's because the head on this razor does not pivot, and so you don't have the incentive to press it harder and harder against your face to kind of meet that spring action that's lightly pushing away from you. So I think while the pivoting head makes it to where you don't have to really work your wrist and make sure that you're shaving at the right angle, that because once it makes contact with your face, you still got a bit of travel before it's like flush, people tend to really jam that thing into their face. This leaves you with no such urge to do that. So in my opinion, it was a great razor just for that reason alone. Now, you really need to check out Matt Pisarcik's channel, Razor Emporium, because he actually toured a collection of older products from Procter & Gamble. He did a tour of, I guess they called it a Heritage Center, and they talked about the Trac II and about how when they went from the Techmatic to the Trac II was so simple that it created a sort of market vacuum for disposable razors. So this was in the early 70s when, inflation was really high. You had, gas shortages and things like that. The infamous early 70s oil crisis. And so they were talking about how this razor was so simple and so straightforward that Bic came along with a disposable razor that was basically the same shape. It didn't have a removable cartridge because it was disposable, and it only had one blade. But at that point it didn't matter. Everybody was just looking for the cheapest thing they could find. And so while this razor was insanely, immensely, incredibly successful, it also opened the door for a new type of market, the disposable cartridge razor market. The Gillette Good News is another razor in the another famous razor in the disposable category. We're actually not going to go into the Good News in this video because, or in this series of videos, because this series deals with Gillette's flagship razors. But it's interesting. I'm glad I watched that before I did this video, because it is crazy how that happened. By releasing the right razor at the wrong time, they single-handedly created the disposable razor market, which is by putting their competitors in a position where they felt compelled to offer recognizable products that were cheaper. But as far as actual shaving goes, I use these on camera a lot. I don't want to say a lot, but I use them fairly frequently. I'm not afraid of using stuff like this and the Atra. Is the Trac II my favorite? No. And we'll talk about the one that is in a future video. But this one is that kind of good that I will tend to recommend it to people with sensitive skin, because it's just a simple, rigid platform that forces people to have to pay attention to how they shave. I still maintain, and I will do so to my dying day, that the vast majority of issues with shaving come down to technique. I think most people can shave with practically anything if they do it the right way. But I think what happens is people are like, oh, these cartridge razors are just giving me sensitive skin, razor burn, and bumps and ingrown hairs and all that sort of stuff. And then they go to a safety razor where two things happen at once. They are using a product that they're not used to using, so therefore they will shave with it differently, and it will work out for them, as opposed to just shaving with your cartridge razor differently. Like, I'm not trying to disincentivize the use of safety razors, but I have personally seen people switch from one cartridge razor to the other and all their face problems just go away. So I wouldn't say that the safety razor alone is doing you any favors. I think what's clearing up people's shaving issues who switch to safety razors for that reason is twofold. One is they're switching to a new type of razor that they're not familiar with, and they're using it differently. So who knows which of those factors is actually making your shave a better shave. Speaking of better shaves, this one was pretty gnarly. I don't see a nick or a cut or any kind of irritation anywhere. Gotta love it. Gotta leave it to the Trac II. And this is with no lubricating strip. This is just a Gillette Foamy, which is not slick in the slightest, and a non-lubricated Trac II. So, alright, let's do the Afta Aftershave Balm, Aftershave Conditioner, Aftershave Goop, for all practical purposes. Wow, wonderful stuff. Okay. Now, my final thoughts on the Trac II is, I think this was Gillette getting very, very close to perfection. We'll talk about what I think perfection is. That's going to be in a future video, but this was Gillette making a giant leap, two giant leaps really. From safety razors to the Techmatic to this is a huge leap in shaving technology. And this thing was almost perfect. It's kind of a shame that they don't make it anymore. You can get, like I said, the the Gillette 7 o'clock razor that is made for less developed economies. Let's just put it that way. It gets sold in places like India and Asia and things like that, developing countries. It's pretty incredible, though, that this razor lasted that long, from 1971 to 2009, before they finally quit making it, for Americans anyway. It's a crazy accomplishment that they were able to do that. I think that's where I ought to leave it. This razor is practically perfect in a lot of ways, and I think it's the razor that convinced people that cartridge razor shaving could be just as good or better than double-edged shaving. You have to remember, this was a time where people were trying to get out of double-edged shaving. And so when people came along and saw that this was really popular and doing really well, they bought into it. Okay? So I think this razor single-handedly convinced people to quit using safety razors for many, many years. Okay. That's the video for today. Questions, comments, put them in the comment section of the video. Otherwise, until next time, this is Soap Thing telling you, shave like you mean it. Thanks for watching.